Good evening. It's 6 p.m. and we want to welcome you to the City of Paris Planning Commission meeting, December 1st, believe it or not, 2021. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. At this time, we'll take a roll call.
Commissioner Lopez,
Here.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Here.
Commissioner Gomez,
Here.
Vice Chair Shively,
Here.
Chair Hammond.
Here. At this time, we'll have a brief period of silence and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Lopez.
Please stand for the pledge. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. At this time, we have item 5. I don't believe there's any presentation. So we'll move to item 6, the consent calendar. And two things, since we have an A and B, would any of the commissioners like to pull an item for discussion at this time, either A or B?
Can we go ahead and pull item B?
Yes, I was going to suggest that too. Okay. So we will start with item A, Planning Commission minutes for November 17, 2021. Are there any corrections, deletions, additions? Boy, this is loud. Wow. Seeing none, at least I don't see any, right? Okay. At this time, we'd like to open up for public comment on the consent calendar, item 6A. 6A. Okay, we close the public comment, and we'd like to have a motion. Okay, we have Vice Chairman Shively moved. And seconded by Commissioner Lopez. Thank you.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively,
Yes.
Chair Hammond.
Yes,
With a vote of 5 yes, this motion passes.
thank you very much. And at this time, we move to item 7B. Thank you. See, I'm so used to being 7. Thank you, 6B. Too much turkey, probably, that's what it is. Street name review 21-05246. A proposal to name 7 streets within tentative tract map 37722, located at the northwest corner of Green Valley Parkway and Murrieta Road. The applicant, Larry Liable, Richmond American Homes. Prior to even beginning discussion, I believe you may want to, as the city attorney, let us know that this is the last stop for the street naming is the Planning Commission. So am I correct about that?
Yeah.
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, so take heed. Okay. So item 7B, we have any presentation? 6B. Somebody help me. 7 is a lucky number, I keep saying 7. Okay.
Mr. Chairman and members of the Plan Commission, Mr. Larry Liable from Richmond American Homes, who's president via Zoom, is proposing to name 7 streets within tract map 37722. A little bit background information about this project. This was actually approved by the City Council on February 9th of 2021, which was this year. And they need your approval so that way they could continue on with the process and be able to record the map so that they can make legal lots. Just to let the commission know that all the street names have been reviewed by Riverside County GIS just to make sure that there isn't any duplicate street names throughout the county. And also it meets all their standards and criteria. And these final street names are the result of that. So these are the approved street names from the County Riverside's GIS division. I'm pretty much, that concludes my presentation. I could answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, do we have any questions of staff, and staff only at this time?
Can't read the text. The presentation is not legible. What are the 7 names?
Oh, if you
Okay.
pull it- Oh, that's right. Let's see. Oh, there we go.
There we go. So these are the proposed street names: Elysium Lane, Blue Star Lane, Calla Lily Court, Daylily Way, English Bluebell Street, Flax Flower Court, Spring Wheat Street, which is a continuance of the southerly track, and Hydrangea Street. These are all based on flowers, just to let the commission know.
Now, as a procedure thing, if we have anything to add, should we wait at least until the presentation of the person, or should we wait until?
As a procedural thing, I think it would be a good idea to give an opportunity to the
The other person.
applicant to
Right.
maybe say a few words and then
Okay,
open up the public comment and then
Okay.
close it, and then at that point, have a discussion.
okay. Anyone have any questions of Mr. Nathan? He's getting off too easy now.
So just to clarify, these names, so for the A name, there's those 4 streets that are available. So if we have a preference for one or the other, they're available at this time.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions? Just questions for Nathan at this time. Okay. And I'm told the applicant is on Zoom, so I'm not sure what to push here. Okay.
Larry, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes, if at this time you had anything you would like to add or make a presentation brief, please do so now. We can't see you, but we can hear you. Ah, okay.
Thank you. First of all, thank you everybody for allowing Richmond to present it. When I was given this project, first of all, I really thought, wow, this is really a unique opportunity to select some really cool names, some really what I think are pretty names. Some of these flowers that were selected, I'm a local boy, so I look, and in fact, I live right around the, not right around the corner, but, and I just selection process.
It's kind of going in and out.
Yeah, we can't hear.
I don't know if IT can help.
Too much background noise or breakup.
Oh, okay. How's this? Is this better?
A little bit.
Let me lean into my speaker a little bit more. Maybe that'll help. But like I said, I live not far from this project, and I thought it was a really unique opportunity to select some really nice names. When we were going through the process to select these names, of course, we took the city's guidance into consideration, especially when it came to like lanes and streets and courts and those sorts of designations. And we just went by what was available, and then just matched up. If you notice, A is Alyssum with an A, and then B is Blue Star, and so on. So we kind of matched them up, and then went through piece by piece. And I got to say that some of these flowers actually were flowers that I know are maybe not indigenous, but are part of the planting palette for the area. And I thought that was kind of a cool thing to weave into the kind of the aesthetic of this particular neighborhood. So again, I thank everybody for considering these names, and that's what I had to present. Hopefully you heard that.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you very much. That's a little challenge. If we have any additional things, should we do it now or do it after public comment?
What do you mean by additional things, Mr. Chair?
If we want to do changes.
I would suggest that.
After public comment?
Yes, after public comment.
It's kind of unusual on consent calendar, that's why I'm asking more questions. Okay. At this, unless you had questions. Okay. At this time, we open it up, item 6B, got it right, 6B for public comment. You have to 3 times, eventually. Okay, seeing no public comment, we come to the commission for any discussion, changes, because I know I have one, but we can start.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I noticed that C Street and D Street both have the word Lily on it. I don't know if that would cause any confusion. I don't know if you suggest possibly changing D Street to like Dianella Way or something, just to avoid any confusion between the both of them. Besides that, I have no other suggestions. Just changing either C or D.
Okay. Whoever wants to go. Commissioner. Okay. Just a minute.
Go ahead.
Okay.
For me, for the A name, the Allison Lane just seems like it would be a hard thing to get across or to interpret because, it could, when I first started, it looked like asylum. So Allison, can we change it maybe to Astor Lane or?
Okay. And I agree with both. And I think the other one for me is Flax Flower Court. There's flax seed, and I don't want a street named after a seed, really. Foxglove Court, at least, if you look at the flower and you go online, you see the flower. The flax flower is like one day. The foxglove is like a perennial, I think. So foxglove sounds a little bit, to me, court. So it's a suggestion. Anything else? And one more, okay.
Hydrangea,
I knew that one.
Yeah.
you knew it was going to be that.
Yes, yeah.
That one's also a hard one to spell. So I like Wild Rose, but I'm open to one of the
That's okay.
other ones.
I like Wild Rose as well.
Okay. Okay. So far, we've got, I'll try to go through it. I think the attorney's better than this. For D Street, the suggestion was another name to Desert, what was it, Daniela Way? Or Daisy Way? Daisy Way?
Yeah, I suggested Dianella Way, but I'm open to either one.
Okay, you suggested Dinella Way would be one suggestion for D Street. For Asylum Way, Asylum, that's what you think about. Change to Astor Lane. There might be some people there on that street, but okay. To Astor Lane is a possible suggestion. From Flax Flower Court to Foxglove Court, suggestion. And from Hydrogenea, which is almost impossible to grow here, to Wild Rose Street were 4 suggestions. Okay. And they're all within the street alternatives that's already been suggested, so we're not some strange, wild. Okay. I'm not going to say Commissioner Jimenez straight, right? We don't. Okay.
Not for this one.
Not this one. Okay.
Sure you don't want to go with the more challenging words?
Yeah, no, stop. Okay, so I think that's what's proposed, and I don't think there's any other matter of discussion for that one. We still need public, we already had public comment. Okay,
We closed it.
we closed it, so we're ready for,
We're good. We're good for-
did you got those, right? Okay, okay.
Don't need-
Just waiting.
Do you need to read it all and say what these corrections
I hope not, but I can. I can. Okay,
If you would like, I can read the motion.
thank you, because it's, jeez.
Okay. It's a motion to approve street name review 21-05246 with the following changes. A Street will be named Astor Street. D Street will be named Daisy Street. F Street will be named Foxglove. And H Street will be named Wild Rose.
Thank you, sir. Oh, we have a moved by Commissioner Jimenez. Let me get a second. Commissioner Lopez is seconded.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively,
Yes.
Chair Hammond.
Yes.
With a vote of 5 yes, this motion passes.
Thank you very much. At this time, we move on to public hearings. Item 7A, conditional use permit, CUP 19-05295. A proposal to construct and operate an 8-island passenger car fueling station, a 1,406 square foot retail store, a 3,960 square foot convenience store, along with a detached 2,505 square foot car wash on a 1.36 acre vacant site located at the northwest corner of 4th Street and Navajo Road, APN 326-234-003. The applicant, Alex, I'm not sure about this, Urshade, if I'm doing it wrong, Ram Cam Engineering. Okay. Before that, is there any ex parte communication, any site visits, anything of that magnitude? I definitely did a site visit, a long one there. So it's my side of town, so, okay. And with that, we have the presentation of the city.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Chair, members of the Planning Commission. Thank you for that introduction. As mentioned, we have this evening the Go Fresh gas station and car wash conditional use permit. The project site currently sits vacant at the corner of 4th Street and Navajo Road with a commercial community land use designation. It is surrounded by other commercial uses, 2 of them are which vacant to the east and to the south, but with 3 other retail centers to the west and to the north. Oop, apologize. This image is a Google Street image that I had to borrow. It is a view looking north along 4th Street on the project site. This is a street view south along Tomahawk Road, looking south to the project site. Here we have a street view east at the corner of Indian Hill Circle and 4th Street. And this is a street view west along Navajo Road. This is the site and preliminary landscape plan exhibit. As mentioned in the staff report, the project site has 2 points of access, one of them being at the terminus of Tomahawk Road along Indian Hill Circle. This driveway will be designated for delivery trucks and domestic vehicles for access. The other point is along Navajo Road, which has a control point with a raised median for only right in and right out for domestic vehicles. As mentioned, the project encompasses a 3,960 square foot convenience store, a 1,400 square foot retail store, a 2,500 square foot car wash tunnel, an 8-island passenger vehicle fueling station, 30 automobile parking spaces, and a 26% landscape proposal, which exceeds the 10% requirement. With respect to the commercial development standards, it meets and exceeds the requirements, and also with the parking standards as well. The image here is a south front elevation that could be seen from 4th Street. This is a rendering of the convenience store and the retail building all in one. It utilizes the combination of 2 different wall surface colors between fine sand and nut brown. It utilizes dark bronze for trim, the metal awning, and the trim cap as well. I believe the materials boards and the renderings are making their way. And also the utilization of stone veneer. It varies between 3 feet, which wraps around all 4 sides of the buildings, giving 4 degrees or 360 degrees of architecture, and is elevated at 11 feet at the entrances of the retail and convenience store. Before you is the car wash elevation, also can be seen from 4th Street. Again, it carries out the same colors as the main convenience store, as well as the utilization of the stone veneer too on all 4 sides. This image is the northwest corner of 4th Street and Navajo Road. This rendering is the view from Tomahawk Road looking south at one of the entrances. This rendering is the view from the corner of Indian Hill Circle and Navajo Road looking southwest. And this view is the corner of Indian Hill Circle and 4th Street looking east. This project, with respect to CEQA, prepared a mitigated neg deck, number 2363, which was circulated for a public review period of 30 days. During that time period, staff did not receive any comments with respect to the environmental document. Therefore, staff's recommendation this evening is for the Planning Commission to adopt PC Resolution 21-5, recommending that the Planning Commission adopt the mitigated neg deck 2363 and to approve conditional use permit 19-05295, subject to the conditions of approval. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any comments that the commission may have. This evening, we also have Mr. Alex Ershad, who is the project engineer and applicant representative, as well as Mr. Mohammed Kaskas, who is the project owner with his family, who can also provide additional information or clarification that the commission may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And at this time, is there any questions for staff? I know I have some, but
Can
start either end.
Can you pull up the parking analysis for me? And this number is also the square footage for the car wash, right?
This number contains the convenience store and the retail.
Yeah, it does not include the car wash because this is an automatic car wash and there's no requirement for an automatic car wash.
And as these renderings that were provided to us are not accurate because they're showing 2 rows of vacuums.
I'm sorry, sir?
This rendering shows 2 rows of vacuums. It's not accurate.
2 rows of,
We have a row next to the car wash and another row that has three bays. Okay, I see it there. So I'm looking at another one that is not this one. So in total, how many vacuum spaces are there?
$11.
Well, if it counts a handicap, I guess.
I count 10. So are the vacuum spaces, part of included in the parking count?
Yes, it includes the handicap.
And if you have more than 26, 25 parking stalls, you need 2 ADA accessible parking stalls. I only see 1.
Oh, there is one just by the entrance of the convenience store, sir.
What about a second one?
The other one is also located by the car wash area.
Is that a vacuum location next to the store? Next to the
Yes.
car wash? Is it, yeah, the individuals using the the vacuum locations are going to be there much longer than the people at the convenience stores and in the islands. And as Kenneth says, the car wash doesn't have a requirement for parking spaces, but there is still employees there, 1, 2, or 3 there, that they need somewhere to park. I don't think we're adequately parked with the minimum requirement of 30, I'm sorry, I think it was 30. I don't think we have enough parking spots.
I'm not sure how you wanted to answer that, but based on the code, this is not your typical quick quack or other types of a little more food service car wash where you have an attendant, this is your kind of, I would equate it to like a typical Chevron where you have an extra feature for a car wash. And so in our code, it doesn't have specific requirements because it's kind of a general car wash, and those types of car washes, people don't tend to stay as long. It's just an additional feature for this type of facility. So based on our calculation, it exceeds the requirement.
Is there a difference between Quick Quack or other car washes that are very similar in nature?
Our code has more specific requirements for like a Quick Quack car wash in terms of stacking. This is in an automatic car wash situation. A lot of times you don't even have a stacking requirements. If you've been to a general like gas station, like a Chevron, I'm just throwing out a name, where you typically just come in, you buy the gas, you get the number, you drive in. In those type of situation, those gas stations, there's no stacking requirement. But in this particular case, the applicant is proposing an additional 8, just because it seems as if we can talk to the applicant, but it seems that they just want to have a little more food service type option. But it's more of a quick get in and get out type of situation.
But, then why put so many vacuum stations there if it's not similar to a Quick Quack?
I would have you defer to the applicant for that question.
Because in my eyes, if you require 30 parking spots and your 10 of those spots are designated for vacuums, then I don't think you have enough parking spots. Because you're designating those 10 stalls for someone to vacuum their car versus having no vacuum lots locations. And then I don't understand why you would put the ADA stall next to the car wash location.
Good evening. Am I allowed to answer some questions?
Please state your name.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Good
Good evening.
We're not at the point where it's
Oh, that's right.
we're
He
still
is
doing
the
staff
sorry.
questions of staff.
I thought it
yes.
was staff. Sorry.
No.
Sorry. When it's time for the staff, I confused you with city staff. Sorry.
So those are some of the concerns as of now, but I will reserve my time for further questions.
Okay. Questions for city staff? Thank you.
I have a question. Since this is my first car wash plan that I'm looking at here, so I do have a question, and if you can educate me, that would be wonderful. How does the city determine what is the time limit of occupancy for a vehicle at a convenience store versus a wash station that has available vacuums to vacuum the vehicles? So how does the city determine that?
I don't know the mechanics of the timing. I don't.
Yeah, we don't have our code doesn't go to that level of detail.
Yeah.
It just says if you have a convenience store, it's based on the square footage of the convenience store. It's just a generic number that typically comes up through some ITE trip generation book.
Okay.
For a car wash, I guess we look at the automatic versus kind of a more full service car wash. We have our code distinguishes between the two. In this particular type of situation, they're providing more features than a typical automated car wash. And so that might be kind of why our commissioner is maybe concerned that people might stay there longer. It might interfere with the operation of the convenience store.
Well, I actually, my concern is vice versa.
Yeah.
So can a person who's going into the convenience store park in a stall where there is a vacuum? And is that going to create an issue?
I would say that question we can defer to the applicant because
Okay.
they're the operational owners.
Okay,
If that's a big concern, we can ask them if they want to remove the vacuum cleaners, take out those options. We can discuss that with the applicant. How we saw it is this is just additional options that are typically above and beyond your typical automated car wash.
okay, okay.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yeah, I just wanted clarification. Will the retail store or will the convenience store be vending alcohol?
No.
No? All right.
Commissioner Jimenez?
I guess my question would have been to the city engineer because I know he usually doesn't like having, it's Tomahawk Road leading right into it. And I didn't see if there was a signal there or a stop or.
There is a stop at the terminus of Tomahawk Road where it meets Indian Circle.
Okay.
And our city engineer is on Zoom. If
Oh,
you
great.
want to direct any specific question to him, he's on.
He knew we were going to be here. Yeah. Oh, there he is. So that and the traffic flow, just because, I really like the Navajo Road is only right in, because people would have to go all the way around to get there. But how much would people use it technically if they're going around? You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody's traveling on 4th Street eastbound, that's eastbound, right? And they go around, westbound, and they go around, they most likely than not will be using the Indian Hill Circle entrance, right? Is that where we're expecting most of the traffic to go in through?
If I may respond, good evening, Chairman Hammond. Members of the commission. I'm sorry I'm not there with you this evening. That's correct. So what's going to happen is for the delivery of fuel or services, there will be a deceleration lane along westbound 4th Street.
Okay.
So they would be able to make a right in and then go into the service station for delivery. And then, yes, there will be an opening on Tomahawk, and then that would actually include, not on Tomahawk, on Indian Hill Circle, and that would be restricted to right in, right out. And there will be a stop sign, turning onto 4th Street.
Okay.
And there'll be a raised median on 4th Street, restricting left in or left out.
Okay. I guess my concern is just if people are going to make that turn and they're going to have to make a right to go around the whole building, I feel like there's going to be more of a traffic jam at that first driveway or that first entry where it's like the street. Let me see. I can't see it now.
Do you
On
mean the opening on Navajo?
Yeah, the one on Tomahawk. So, if you're traveling on 4th Street, you're going to have to make a right. You're going to take Indian Hill Circle. And then most people are going to turn in there. Did we have that second one? Do you foresee it being used more as an exit? Because I don't really foresee people going all the way around, making another right to go in.
You're correct. I mean, there'd be better distribution of traffic, actually. But we did look at the volume of traffic at all directions to make sure that there'd be safe turning movements at Tomahawk and Indian Hill Circle.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Oh, I did have one more for staff. Actually, it might be for applicant because it's about not the landscaping, but the building. The sides have, seems like they have, where did I leave it? I have it right here. Only halfway, there's like that stone veneer, and then that back half has nothing. Like the picture here, I think it's image number 5. There's only halfway kind of like a visual appeal, and then it's like nothing. Yeah, it stops. So I was wondering if you had had any discussions with the applicants about maybe doing a trellis or something to give it a little bit more of an appeal, or what else we could do to just not have a dead stop. It's a beautiful front building, and then it's nothing.
Okay, staff can definitely work with the applicant to provide an additional architectural enhancement on that side if you like.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Because I'm gonna go. The site plan, I'm glad you have it there. I've got a few observations, because I went to this site, so I'm gonna be very detailed. First observation, you have a grading plan, problem. It sinks down almost like a detention basin. It's not mentioned in the engineering reports, not mentioned in this, and I can't believe it isn't mentioned, because you're not gonna be able to do that unless you have a lot of dirt infill there. So it's not flat. It's almost contoured down there. I could run down in there, and you would have never been able to get out of there. That's the problem with those two sites, one across from that one. So the grading issue is an issue. The rock issue is not as bad as the other side, but that grading issue is a landfill issue. So that's one of those things that's going to continue. Now, I'm told it's not in a 100-year floodplain, but it may not be that much of an issue for that. But in terms of just getting that tree out, getting the rocks out, you're going to have to flatten that out. That's a topography issue. It's not going to be cheap, I'll tell you now. Second, I don't know if we have a bigger picture of the site plan, but I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to start with Indian Hill Circle. Now, I was over on that street. It's well-maintained. I will give them that much, because in the past it was, but it is well-maintained now. It looks like it was redone. I went to Tomahawk. I'm very detailed. Now, you're showing in the picture, and this is being real picky. If you're talking about, do you see those two arrows by Tomahawk Road, and we have them turning right or turning left? That doesn't make any sense. The one arrow to the right should be turning right. The other arrow should be straight or turning left into the property. So you know where I'm talking about? Above that red circle, there's two arrows. You don't want to go 2 left turns or 2 right turns. No one's going to do that. You want to turn left into the property or right into Tomahawk. So that's a site plan drawing change. It's an architect change, okay? One of the things that's happening too, if you look at the M&D report too, obviously it doesn't warrant a signal there, but they have a contribution that's proposed by the city that they would contribute, 20% to that signal. Now, one of the issues at Indian Hills, you have to go through the other shopping center area to go to the parking lot full of nails, to go to get to Indian Hills, which is a cul-de-sac cutoff, so you're gonna have to cut that off and go into 4th Street, Highway 74. So that has to be opened up. That means you're gonna have that acceleration or deceleration lane. You have to have it. As she has said, your people are going to turn in on Tomahawk. That's where you're gonna go. And I was in that parking lot. I even sat in the parking lot and said they're turning into that parking lot from Indian Hill Circle. So that's what most. Third problem, Navajo Road. If you go Navajo Road, I told them in this area. You go down Navajo Road and you go to Indian Hill Circle, you're making a left turn with no arrows. It's chicken there. So you turn left, you're stopping traffic to turn left, and you talk about peak hour, right, between 4 and 7 p.m. You're turning left there and there's no arrow. So when you turn left into Indian Hills to get into that shot, you can't turn into Navajo Road entrance, so you have to go to Indian Hill Circle to get into the shopping center based on the plans. When you're going on Navajo Road to 4th Street, obviously you have 2 left turn lanes and a right turn, but when you go Navajo going north, you just stop there and you turn left at that intersection. There's nothing there. There's a stop sign on Indian Hills going to Navajo, but there's nothing going south. So you're just going to be turning there freelance. That's a traffic issue. Okay, surprised it wasn't discovered. Those are some basic issues that are going to be some primary issues. The topography, to me, is one of the top issues, and I know you saw that, so I'm not saying anything new. But that has to be changed because there's no way this project goes unless Highway 74 and Indian Circle are connected, because you have a bottleneck. Residents coming from Enchanted Heights, Indian Hills, are going to turn right and go to Indian Hill Circle or Navajo. They have no problem. It's the ones going Navajo Road. Then we have to turn left to go into that location that we said trucks. It's going to be vehicles, passenger vehicles too. It is. I don't think there's anything stopping, and I'm not sure, I could be wrong, Indian Hill Circle going towards Tomahawk. I don't think there's a stop sign there. I think there's one at Tomahawk Road, and you have a stop sign there. I'm not sure if there's one, and I don't think I checked at that intersection. So those are like 4 different things that are key to this project. Okay. So I hope you're writing this down. The 5, the fence, and when you mentioned, see, I read stuff. The fence was only going to go up to the driveway. The fence is supposed to circle all around the property, right? It's not. So you're going to have all the area around the back. The retail is going to be open to walk in, but you're going to have a fence around the entrance at Navajo and Indian Hills, and that's that 4-foot iron fence, which is shown in the picture. Am I correct? So the other is open, basically. Okay, let's go on. Trash enclosure. We didn't see a picture of a trash enclosure. We did mention it. We mentioned it, but it's always nice to have a picture of the trash enclosure because that's one of our pet peeves about having landscaping around it. That's the key because you not only have a car wash, you know what happens to car wash stuff, right? Throw it out in the car. You also have the retail, 2 retail stores, and then you have a trash enclosure. We have no idea what it looks like. Okay, so I'm assuming based on the drawing in here that it's going to have some vines, it's going to have a trellis on top, but we're making that assumption. Okay, so this is after 19 years on this thing, that's why. Okay, so you start seeing things and you start understanding that the dynamics of those things I'm not sure are necessarily bad issues. Some of them are kind of nitpicking issues, but I'm just looking at some areas that circulation issues that we want to make sure that the Navajo Road, Indian Hill Circle, left turn into that Indian Hills is either something in the plans, a left turn. If you're going to have a left turn, you're stopping traffic. So if there's not going to be a left turn lane from Navajo Road into Indian Hill Circle to go into that parking lot, because that's the only way you can go in, then hopefully we won't have a lot of issues with traffic. But retail store, you never know. And you have a car wash, which tends to draw a lot of people, and there's nothing in that area that I know of. So it can be very popular. Okay. So these are just some points for the city to look at when you look at this plan. I think we may need to touch on those. You may have some answers for them. I doubt it, but you may have some answers for those. And that's what I could come up with so far. I think my number one and last issue is the grading issue, and you know it's you're gonna have some landfill, some dirt fill. There's no way to get around it, but it just wasn't mentioned anywhere. That's a major one here, because you can't do it without that. So hopefully I laid out some issues, and I'll leave it to the city if you have any questions or responses. Good luck with that one.
Chairman Hammond, I'm going to defer most of these questions you have because they're engineering related to John, who's on Zoom. But I do want to make it clear if it's not clear enough. But currently, right now, Indian Hill Circle at 4th Street, you can't. It's not a through street.
Right.
As part of this project, that through street
Right.
occurs and happens, so you don't have that kind of
Right.
blockage right now. I just want to make sure that
Right.
that's clear. With the rest, I'm going to defer this to John in regards to what is warranted and the analysis that we went through for the circulation.
Okay.
Good evening, Chairman Hammond. As far as the traffic, let me touch on the grading, your main concern. This project is going to have a water quality management provisions, and that was preliminary reviewed and accepted. And what would happen is actually the runoff will be collected as part of the water quality management provisions. And of course, the excess will be conveyed. There's an existing storm drain pipe under Navajo Road. So the excess runoff will be conveyed as it does currently. So I don't know if that responds to your questions that you have or your concern.
I think the issue is as well as the fact that you have the dirt that has to be filled in. Because you have a slope problem, it's a major issue, and so the infill, and you know already that there's an infill issue, not to mention getting the rocks out, hopefully without dynamite. But that to me is going to have to be rectified, because that slope right now, you'd have just a water basin. So I can't believe that anybody would pass that unless you have that graded now. How are you gonna, is the street grading, and where you go from Indian Hills, I know I'm getting technical now, Indian Hills to 4th Street, I don't know what that slope is and how they would fill that, or they'd have to lower portions or raise it to match the street level. So have you guys looked at that one, or how do they propose to do
That's
that?
correct. Yeah, we did look at the hydrology and the hydraulics of this site and the conveyance of the runoff. There will be cut and fill, and there will be rock outcropping. And I believe the applicant conducted a geotechnical analysis and the extent of rock outcroppings and removals. There was a study done on that, which we looked at, and yeah, there'd be extensive grading and earthwork associated with the development of this project. And that was analyzed.
Hey, John.
And the hydraulics and the hydrology
Hey,
of
John,
the
just real
project.
quickly, I believe the site needs to be raised, right? Because it's kind of in a kind of like a little contour.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then I'm looking at one of the exhibit as part of your engineering drawings. It looks like there is a transition left lane on Navajo going onto Indian Avenue going north. Is my review of the situation? And then there's a transition lane on 4th Street so that it doesn't block the speed of traffic along Highway 74/4th Street, so they can get onto Indian Circle.
Correct. So what would happen is, starting on 4th Street, there is that 4th Street and Navajo is currently a signalized intersection,
Right.
and it will continue to operate in the same manner. However, going westbound on 4th Street, there'd be a deceleration lane or a turn lane pocket. So that would get the traffic off 4th Street, and then they can make a right turn on Indian Hill Circle. Going coming off Indian Hill Circle onto 4th Street, again, there will be traffic control there, and it's be restricted to right out only. The driveway to the site on Indian Hill Circle, that will line up with Tomahawk. So it would function as a standard crossroad at that location. So trucks or delivery trucks can make a right into the site, and then they'll be exiting from that driveway also onto Indian Hill Circle to get onto 4th Street, and then they make a right turn to exit the site.
I think, John, and I appreciate it. I think going, and I know I'm being over detailed, but when you go, I'm assuming it's north on Navajo Road into Indian Hills, there currently is no left turn lane. So I didn't see it on the plan. So were there plans to make a left turn lane into Indian Hills Circle as you go north on Indian Hills towards on Navajo? I'm sorry, Navajo to Indian Hills.
Navajo. I understand, yes. So there's an exhibit attached to the conditions of approval. If you can refer to that exhibit, please, is Exhibit A of the conditions.
It's at the conclusion of the engineering conditions.
Yeah.
And it has a conceptual striping plan associated with the development. It should be at the end of the conditions of approval, engineering conditions of approval.
On Navajo Road, number 8, not
Correct.
18. Okay, 18.
It's dated September 24,
Yeah.
Exhibit A, and it provides a schematic or conceptual striping plan.
Okay, at that location. Okay. Because that was my concern. If you're going, because I went over there and tried to turn, you just turn there. You stack cars, And we're expecting people there, so you know they're gonna come from 4th Street, going 170 miles an hour. You're gonna go 4th Street and turn left into Indian Hills. That's your major place you're gonna come in there. So you're not gonna come in Navajo. If you're going from anywhere else other than Enchanted Heights in that area, you're gonna turn left into that. So without that lane, it becomes a traffic issue. We just wanna make sure that we're clear that there is, if not, it would have to be widened street, or something would have to be done to Navajo so that there can be a left turn lane in there. So I'm just wondering if does that merited a left turn into Indian Hills from Navajo? Because you're making a right turn right out on Navajo. So that means, as we all know, you can only turn left into that parking lot across from Tomahawk. Getting from Navajo to Indian Hills is a left turn. Without that lane, I'm just wondering how safe is it gonna be?
If you're coming southbound on Navajo,
Well, north
Ham-
towards Navajo from the 4th Street, and you're going, I'm saying north, towards Indian Hills. And you turn left on Indian Hills to get into that Tomahawk entrance. You're turning
Yes.
left on Navajo, there's no left turn.
well,
Yeah.
they will.
But you're
Okay.
proposing one.
Correct. So
Okay.
there will be signing and striping associated
Okay.
with this project. Correct.
Okay.
So it would actually accommodate a through lane on Navajo Road as well as a left turn lane
Okay.
onto Indian Hill Circle. That's right.
Okay. I'm good.
One more question for him.
Commissioner Jimenez?
So I'm looking at the plans that we got, and I see a stop sign on Tomahawk, is it? And then I see a stop sign on Indian Hills going westbound. Eastbound, I see the lines on the floor, but it doesn't say stop, and I don't see a stop on the actual driveway getting out. I just want to clarify that it is a 4-way stop.
Currently, it'd be a two-way stop. So going southbound on Indian Hill Circle,
No,
There
no,
w-
yeah.
there's a stop bar. It's probably not very clear on the exhibit, but there is a stop bar and a stop sign. So cars going westbound on Indian Hill Circle, they'll stop to make a right onto Tomahawk or a left into the project site.
Okay, and the ones going northbound? The ones going
The
in the
northbound-
opposite direction? I see little bars that are painted on, but it doesn't say stop like the other ones do. I just want to clarify that once this opens, that will be a 4-way stop.
What we can do what can be done is actually we can do a quick warrant analysis at that time to make sure if it's warranted for all-way stop sign. Of course, coming out of the project site, they'll have to stop to make a left or a right or go through to Tomahawk.
Yeah,
But,
but even for deliveries, like those are bigger vehicles that take longer to accelerate. And if they see a stop across the street and they see a stop to the right-hand side, I think it would be safe to assume that there would be a stop sign on the left hand as well. If you see two stops at a corner and you're at a stop to exit a building, it would be safe to assume that there would be a stop closest to you. So, I mean, I would like to propose that it's a 4-way stop, just to make sure that everybody's safe, because that would put too much at risk. I don't know if that's something we can.
No, that'd be fine. We can add a condition to that effect, that the intersection of Tomahawk and Indian will be a 4-way stop. We can
Yeah.
have that condition added.
Portion of the light.
Just wanted to make a quick side comment. I'm not sure if IT is aware that we can see all the changes. It's a little confused. It's moving around a little too much. I'm sorry.
Okay. IT's good. Anyway, any more questions or discussion with city staff?
Technical question for staff. ADA parking stalls or parking stalls in general, City of Paris requirements is 9 by 18? And can they overhang?
Yeah, they should be overhang of a 9 by 18.
Okay, I don't, ADA is a different code, but, okay.
Okay.
Got no questions on that one.
Any more questions for staff?
Just one last question for staff. Was was there a conversation in regards to having and I'm not sure if this was answered already, but if the trellis, consider a trellis going behind the convenience store as well? And I do see that where on the driveway, in between the convenience store parking, the storefront of the convenience store, in between that parking and in between the parking of the stalls with the vacuums, there's very nice planters that go around both to make the distinction on the driveway. Is there a way that, or maybe it's on the opposite direction here? Was there a discussion regarding a trellis going along that way as well? Because what I see a lot with these types of convenience stores and with it having the additional parking, for the car wash, there's a lot of customers walking on on those really nice landscape, and it just ruins it because of the convenience of just walking right through. So was there a conversation with that, or should I direct that to the applicant as well?
The only conversation we had was the fencing that the chair had mentioned earlier. We had proposed it along 4th Street and a portion on Indian Hills to try to deflect a lot of pedestrian traffic trying to just cross the highway and trying to cross Indian Hills,
Right.
cross through that lovely landscaping that they're being proposed to access a convenience store and make them utilize the lighted path of travel instead.
Great.
So we only analyzed that component there, but staff could definitely look further into maybe provided added fencing to deflect pedestrian traffic along the landscape areas.
Okay,
Definitely.
thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, any more questions for staff? We didn't beat you up too much, did we?
No, well, I'm still alive.
We can change that.
I know. Chair, if I may, I believe you had concerns about the trash enclosure. I did have 2D elevations. I wanted to wow you with the renderings, but in the 2D elevations, I believe on the second sheet,
Yeah, I saw it.
there is the trash enclosure. We don't have a rendering of the trash enclosure, but please keep in mind that the trash enclosure does reflect the same architectural materials as proposed in the convenience store. Also, staff remembered the concern that Commissioner Gomez had when we presented the Beyond Mart, the gap between the top of the wall and the bottom of the trellis. There was concerns about vagrancy, maybe wanting to come in. In efforts to not make it look like a cage, staff proposed what is called a guide wire, if you will. So there'll be a wire going in between that area. So far away, you can't see it, but once you get close enough, you cannot access it because of the wire.
Okay.
So that should deflect that.
That would be an added bonus, especially if there's like a vine growing.
Yeah,
It
Yes.
could catch on to that. And It would
Yes.
be really nice. That's a good alternative.
So hopefully I can answer that, but I'll leave the rest to Mr. Ershad.
Okay.
One quick question.
Yes,
Is there, what is the requirement for the submittal? Is there a floor plan required for the submittal?
Yes,
We have one?
there should be one as part of the packet.
None there.
Unless you got something I didn't get. Yeah, it was, I think it was somewhere in the
Okay, I see.
yes, okay,
Sorry, sheet A 3.1. It's just open.
yeah.
Oh.
There's no reflection of
What's going inside? Just,
sales or anything like that. Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So, can't see what they're doing inside.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else for staff at this time? Okay.
Very
Thank
good.
you very much.
Thank you.
And at this time, if we have the applicant would like to step forward, if you just state your name And spell your last name for us. And we appreciate your patience too. But spell your last name for us.
Good
too.
evening, Chairman and Planning Commissioning and City staff as well. My name is Alex Rashid from Ramcam Engineering Group, Inc., out of Corona, California. I represent my client, Mohammed Kaskas.
Spell your last name for us. Just for the record.
Irshaid, and you
you very
pronounce it Rashid. That will help you out. Thank you.
That's the main reason. Okay, any questions or if you had a presentation?
Yeah, well, I want to go and try to answer some of the questions that were raised earlier. Regarding as far as the grading plan, I'm just a little bit kind of surprised why it's not in this package, either an error on our part that when Mr. Garcia asked for the 7 packages that we didn't send it, but yes, we prepared an extensive study on the grading. We did all of the analyses on it, which we're right now in construction documents. And we have a major cut and major fill. As far as rock cropping, we are not doing any dynamite. We're doing just, we did a study on it, and it's going to be just ripped in place. So, and probably we're going to grind it also as well. As far as the slopes and all that stuff, the worst case scenario I noticed on my plans that probably about 2.5% slope in the traffic areas, and not in the pedestrian or the NDA path of travel. Those two should not exceed more than 2% to crossways, and no more than 5%, uphill or downhill, in order to avoid, handrails. And as a matter of fact, while we are working right now on the construction documents, we discovered, little stuff that was not looked at the time, how to connect the ADA parking at the vacuum connected to the store. So we dedicated, and on the new plan that we have, there is a path of travel that connect them together. And on these plans, if you look at A6.1, if I take you back to the trash enclosure and the vacuum enclosure, we have those 2 enclosures with details on them. And as Mr. Garcia mentioned, they mimic the main building architectural. And going back onto your traffic study questions. Along Navajo, if you look at the existing striping today, going north from 4th Street, going north toward Indian Hill, there is a left turn, but the striping is completely wiped out. You cannot even see it.
Yeah.
Because the double line in the middle, they curve to the left, so there is a pocket, which is a left turn pocket. And our traffic engineer did the traffic restriping again, and was submitted to John for approval, and they accepted it at the time. Now, as far as the deceleration lane that we created on 4th Street heading west, that is not from the existing travel ways. This one is going to be part of the dedication. We are dedicating about 20-some feet along the north side of 4th Street heading west, and redeveloping the whole area there. Then we're removing all the curb and gutter sidewalks. We're pushing the signal back to the north. So the whole area there in the frontage, that's going to be redeveloped with the new development. And I believe somebody mentioned, as far as Indian Hills, it's not a go-through going south, right? You mentioned that, Ken? Indian Hill.
Yeah, it's currently not a
So right now, it's just a dirt lot. And in the beginning of the project, that's what we proposed to the city, that we would like to see if we can realign the entrance there and connect the deceleration lane to come in and make it a right turn out. So that will also alleviate some of the traffic in the morning coming on Navajo going south, because right now everybody gotta go to 4th Street from Navajo. By creating what we're doing is we're creating a relief point that some of people, if they want to go west on 4th, they don't have to go through Navajo. They go through Indian and go west. So kind of, that's what the improvements that this project is bringing to the neighborhood, and hopefully, it's going to benefit the city too, to create something beautiful like what we're creating. And we are here tonight, hopefully looking for your approval and blessing on this. We're eager to get going with it. I think it's about time. It's been on it for about 2-some years. And we are blessed that we are here today. Mr. Garcia will work hard, Ken worked hard with us, and the city engineer as well. And everybody's been pushing, this project to move forward. And here we are today. So, if any other question?
Thank you very much, and I go to our staff if you have questions. Now's the time for the applicant.
I have a question in regard.
Yeah.
I have a question in regards to EV charging stations. I don't know if you guys are carrying that, or how many do you have, and will you guys be able to sustain more charging stations if you need to in the future, like being able to add them?
They just had to
If you look
plan
at
for it.
A1.1, there are 7 parking stalls along.
You want, so you can- yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
If you look at A1.1, there are 9 parking stalls along 4th Street. 7 are dedicated for passenger parking, one of them for air and water, and one of them for e-charging.
So one electric vehicle charging station?
Yeah, that's a dedicated one.
Okay. Will you guys be able to add more if we need to in the future?
If we need to, we know, as Mr. Garcia started talking about the parking, and we have the requirement, we need about 22 parking stalls, but we provided 30, right? And that despite the vacuum parking, that's an issue also, I believe was raised earlier. The vacuums, there are 11 stalls vacuum dedicated for the car wash. These are not for parking. These are for the people who washes and come out, park their car, clean it up, and leave. So they are there for about, 5, 6, 7 minutes. That's usually the average study. And we dedicated also an ADA parking. Now, the requirement says if we are more than 25 parking stalls, we have to have 2 parking. But we have 22, so we are 1, will satisfy this project. The other one is the requirement I've been imposing it on my clients for the future, because nobody really requiring ADA vacuum. So I start pushing it on all my projects to assist the ADA folks to come in, park. If you want to vacuum their car, they have plenty of room to do it in their own stall. And that's the one we are connecting through a new path of travel to the C-store, if they need to go to buy something and come back. But if we need to, out of those 7 stalls, like I said, we already overparked in here, we are fine. I think we can add as needed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Whoever wants to start.
And to piggyback off of his question, which was a good question, by the way, why can't we have one EV station come with the project?
EV,
I'm sorry, the charging station.
we have one.
There is one?
Yes, we have one along 4th Street.
So it's one reserved one where you got to provide a conduit stubbed to that electrical panel. But I
It's
believe
not installed to-
I believe it's one for every 9 parking stalls that you have to reserve an EV station, one for every 9 stalls.
So if there's one reserved, and this is because I'm not familiar with this, but how do we get one to be available?
The availability in the code, it only requires them to provide a stub up, and so it could be done in the future.
So who can we partner with to be able to make sure? Is there a way to partner up to, or make it happen so that there is one installed? Because I know this highway very well, this street, this area, but you're as an electric vehicle user, that's something that would be very, very welcome in this city.
Yeah, definitely, we reserved a parking stall for it, but we are going to install even the charger itself.
It will be installed.
It will be installed, yes. We are already in negotiation with a couple providers. We have another project we just got approved about a couple months ago in Moreno Valley,
Okay,
bigger than this one, and we are already negotiating on 2 parking stalls with the EV charging stations.
okay.
So it is dedicated for that, and it will be powered, and hopefully the equipment will be by the time we are opening for this project.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. I'd love to have heard that we already have it coming, but if it's potential and it's on the list, then that's what we want.
Yes, it is. It is a part of my design as well. And right now, we're talking even to my electrical engineer to provide, sufficient power for it. And like I said, my client is already communicating with a couple of providers to
Very well.
purchase the equipment.
Very well, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Jimenez?
I think, no, I think we have the same question.
Oh.
Do you want to ask it or want me to ask it?
Go ahead and ask.
Okay, so you said that, there's 22 parkings provided and you're providing 30. But technically you're not, because you just said that those 3 vacuum extra ones?
No, those are separately.
Because when I count just the parkings without those, there's 20. Because there's 30.
The requirement is 30, I believe.
Well, total we provided is a 21. That's
Okay.
what's required. So we have a 12 in front of the store,
Uh-huh,
and we have 9 along the street,
that one
along
under the
4th
tree?
Street. See that?
Okay, so
So
that,
what we doing? We taking 7 for passenger parking,
Lied.
1 dedicated for air and water, and 1 dedicated for EV station.
Can
okay,
you go back to the slide showing the parking requirements?
yeah. Yeah.
And
So it's
under the
required 21?
canopy, we have 16 parking stalls. For each dispenser, the city allows us to count 2 parking spaces. Because if I'm a customer coming in to buy gas, I'll park my car and walk to the store. So that's considered parking. So I have 16 total.
Okay,
Plus the 21, that's the 37 stations. So we have a plenty of parking on this facility.
so there's 21 required. There's 21 provided.
Yes.
Okay, because all the other ones, 11, the extra, is it
The
11 or
16.
is it 8 and 3 that are the vacuum ones?
The vacuum ones, there are 11. They are dedicated for vacuum. You cannot park in them.
Okay,
You're not supposed to.
okay,
I didn't realize it was kind
okay. I think that was it. And I also wanted to just bring up, because the person that is going to be parking in the ADA parking lot, that would be like the entrance and exit for most vehicles. So just, I would continue to encourage, and I'm sure you're thinking about it already, is their safety, because if they're in a wheelchair or they have mobility issues, just crossing where it's the main entrance and exit to the driveway is just a little bit riskier.
Are you looking at the one in front of the store?
The one in front of the vacuums, because
in
if they're
front
at
of
the
the vacuum.
vacuums and they want to run into the convenience store real quickly, then, access to that.
And that's why in the new plans, the construction document, where dedicated path for travel will be marked on the ground in
Right.
blue.
But that's what I'm saying, just, wherever you put it, just make sure, and I'm sure you think about it, just cars are coming out, cars are exiting, and they may have some mobility issues.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. We did the study on that one, and really we felt comfortable putting that path for travel the way we did it on the new plan.
Oh, okay, I would have liked to see that.
Do you mind if I pass on through?
Can he? Oh, it hasn't been officially submitted. Yeah? Okay, but it hasn't been submitted, right? It hasn't been,
It's an exhibit. It's an exhibit we brought with us, that's all.
If they want to pass it out. Yeah, if you guys,
Mr. Chair, if the commission would like to accept the documents, certainly we can take in the documents. We just have to make sure that it's made available to the public after the meeting. It's just like submitting any document at the meeting,
Why don't you
basically.
guys take a look at it first, and then if you want to submit it to us to look at.
if
Especially
Kenneth looks
Kenneth.
at it, then, and he's okay with it, I'm good with it.
I'm sorry, I just saw that there is a path of travel plan, detailed travel plan that he's working on, that he's created for me to look at.
Okay, and you consider it safe for somebody that may have mobility issues with the traffic coming in and out?
Yeah,
Okay,
I would consider that.
all right, thank you.
And also, as far as the ADA, if we notice, there is the first dispenser, we have also a connectivity between the store and it. Because customers, sometimes they park and they want to go in, and we're going to mark it as a path of travel as well.
That was it for me. I don't want to ask again about the.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you for
Thank you.
answering our questions. We really appreciate it. We mentioned, I mentioned to the city staff an option for a trellis to protect the landscape in between the different parking spaces. Especially, I see it here. I see the vehicles here at this parking, and I see the coverings with the vacuums. And in between, there's a space here in between, and there's a vehicle. So I'm assuming this is a street or a vehicle pass right here. If this is, if this matches the
Do you
the
mind if
drawing.
you can take a look at A1.1? Maybe you can point on that?
Yes.
What's that? The fencing?
No, it's not on there. Maybe it's on.
So, just to simplify it, if we're looking at the plan, the site plan in general, if we're gonna look at we see the line, the darkened bold line is where the trellis is going to be on the sides, right? However, coming in on Indian Hills Circle, coming down from Navajo, there's no bold line there, and I think that's because you're able to see either signage for the building, or that sort, right up here. See this, right here. So there's the bold line for the trellis here, here, but there's not one here. And the concern is that the more open space we have, it just, people just tend to walk over it to get to, and because the convenience store, the door is inside of the property. So I can already see it happening, especially because there's just a protection level, as a protection level.
So do you propose that we can maybe add another fence, a decorative fence on the corner of Navajo and Indian Hill?
Well,
behind
that's
the
what I was
building?
talking about earlier. Yeah, because it's just up to the driveway, so that's when I first mentioned it
We can
stops
do
there
that.
and there's nothing around the
We
back.
kind
so-
of close it
And
to
then
the building, yeah.
This is, and just to confirm, these are this is the gas station?
The fuel dispensers, yes, ma'am.
Fuel dispensers. Okay. Where did I see it? There's trellis here, here, that's fine. At some point, I may be wrong, but I saw that these vehicle entrances or access,
Yes.
there's some vegetation around here somewhere.
No, nothing. there.
Nothing?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Then
where
if
the car
there's
is going to be
nothing, then-
traveling.
Okay. All right, then I was just a little off by this then. I'm trying to figure this out. Car wash.
Do you mind putting those pictures out? Once you're done.
No. I think I understand what Commissioner Shively was talking about in
Commissioner
regards
Gomez,
to.
can you raise that rendering so we can put it up on the screen, please? Let's see, which is that one? Not correct.
That's the vacuum.
Think
The one that has,
This one, right there,
the back one, go back,
back.
that one.
This one right here. Yep, that's the vacuum.
It's not accurate, though.
It's not, that's not what I'm looking at on here, am I?
No, yes, yes.
It is? Which part? Because I don't see it.
Okay, go back.
We're dancing here?
No,
That's what you were talking
the
about.
one she had.
Yeah, it's not accurate.
Maybe more, one more. That one
That's the
there.
vacuum.
This is the one you're looking at, ma'am, yes?
Yes,
Okay, see on where it says car wash elevation from
from
4th
Fourth
Street?
Street, yeah.
That is the entrance to the car wash, that turn. And those, the white car and the other white car, those are the vacuums.
Well, there is no entrance on Fourth Street.
There is no entrance from 4th Street, but I'm talking about the sentence said car wash elevation.
If you're looking around the little thing, I think that's where the cars are stacked to go through the drive-through, because they don't come in through the top, they go through the bottom behind those 3 stalls.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
And I think that's what we're looking.
This is the one, ma'am, I'm talking.
Oh, I see. I see it now.
Yes.
Okay, I see it now.
You see this one here, on this plan?
Yep,
This is the entrance, that's where the stacking is.
Yes.
yes. So there is no trellis on this rendering, but there is on here.
No, there is a fence. in
There is
front of
a
it
fence, okay.
to prevent anybody or the pedestrian to cross from the public right-of-way into the
But it's not on
property.
here.
No, we
Okay,
didn't show it
okay,
on that,
good.
yes.
Good, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah,
Thank
on
you.
the plans it is shown, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's good. Yeah, yes, we hate stepping on our vegetation because this looks beautiful. The vegetation is beautiful. If you can keep it like this most of the year when it's not, perennials or whatnot, that would be amazing. So we would like to conserve this and make sure that it stays this way.
Thank
And
you.
the least amount of traffic or, what's it called, pedestrian? Foot traffic that we can get through there, the better. So yes, that's exactly what I was referring to. Thank you.
I leave that commitment to my client, right? And definitely they are committed.
Anyone else have any statement for the applicant at this time?
So if we can kind of reconvene real fast on the parking stalls, you do have 31 stalls, correct? 21
Have
are
21 plus 16 under the canopy,
plus,
plus the vacuum, the 11 vacuum.
I'm sorry, we don't count the parking under the canopy. So when we looked at the parking code, we only count the parking space outside that added up to 31.
Okay, 31.
so there needs to
agree.
be 21 parking stalls. There's only 20.
What I'm saying is that the parking in the car wash counts towards that 21.
But he's saying it doesn't. He's saying that's not parking for.
So my question is, can you remove one vacuum and make it 21 required?
Okay, my client spoke.
Yeah, or even the 3, because if there's stacked room for 8 cars at any given time and there's 8 vacuums, I don't know how long does it take for a car to go through a car wash?
1 minute
minute?
inside
Okay,
the
so they
tunnel
could
and
back
about
up a little
5
bit
to
if-
7 in the vacuum.
Yeah. They do get full, so that's what I'm saying. I was trying to see if we could get rid of those 3, because if there was a car that went through, but if it's only a minute and 8 are going through within like 10 minutes, they could be done with.
I'm
More.
really slow at vacuuming a car.
Me, 3.
They're gonna need
They'll go through the car wash before I even think
Okay, I
about
think
it.
we're getting off the- Anyway, we want to go back to the applicant. Do we have any questions for the applicant or discussion for the applicant?
And then one of the other issues that came up was the design elements and stuff, but it looks very plain and flat. So was already discussed that you guys would work with staff to improve the architecture.
Yes, we are willing to work with the staff upon your instruction. Thank you.
And no further questions.
Any further questions? Okay. Thank you very much this time.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
We now open it up for public comment, which includes anyone that might be on Zoom, and I don't know if there is, but we have to say it anyway. Looking at Ryan, I don't think there is. Shock me one day. Okay. So without public comment, are we closing the public hearing now? Okay. And we're going to now the discussion of the county commissioners, and we can go either direction.
I do have a question for us. There was discussion that any future light that's needed, they would contribute to it?
Well, that's the signal, yeah.
Yeah.
The Navajo Road, 4th Street, right?
Yeah, I think there was if I recall correctly, there's like a
Yeah.
20% contribution.
Yes, 20%.
And then there was also, and I can go over what I heard,
lot of
but
pages.
it's up to you. You want me to go over what?
It's on the mitigated,
Yeah.
so it's,
I'm good with that part.
whoever wants to start. Okay.
Just wanted to reiterate what Chairman Hammond said about the trash enclosure. Just because of the rendering, I didn't see any. Oh, it didn't even come up on the rendering. But just to make sure that we do see the trestles on it. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
Commissioner Gomez?
And what Commissioner Lopez said, I think that just making sure that if the trash enclosures are the ones that tend to get more graffiti on them. They do tend to get, they just tend to get beat up for some reason or another. If just really take into consideration that either the landscape or the design be something that would either negate that kind of abuse on the building, and in my opinion, I'd go more towards vegetation. I know it's more maintenance, but golly, it just looks so much better. And so I think that was a good point. And then overall, I hope that I know it's going to be a busy place.
Commissioner Jimenez?
Well, we all know what I'm going to say about the landscaping. It's beautiful, and I just find it so unfortunate that we have to think ahead because it looks beautiful without the fencing around the backside, and it's so unfortunate that we have to block the beauty of it because we know that there's a potential for foot traffic and, people stepping on it and squashing the plants. So I just, that was beautiful, but I think it's so sad that we have to cover it. But I love the plants. They're beautiful. I like the colors that you're going to see even throughout the year. I like the little canopies for the vacuuming. Those are really nice. Happy that they're going to work with staff to work on the architecture and make it a little bit more appealing. I love that the landscape will help it look a lot nicer. But if we can just combine the two, the architecture with the landscaping, it really is going to be a beautiful building. And I think it's a great place to bring beauty into our city because when we're driving on 4th Street and we just see dirt and more dirt, it's needed to have beautiful buildings with beautiful landscaping.
Commissioner Shively?
And just being very detail oriented, I noticed tiny little parts and pieces of everything. So my issues were resolved, discussed, and will be taken care of by staff. That general area, it will be, will benefit from having a gas station there. The next gas station between there and the 15 is, really like all the way, 7 miles or so. So it'll be nice to have a gas station there. Other than that, I have no further comments.
Okay, back to Commissioner Jimenez.
Sorry, I forgot to add. I would like to see, because it's such beautiful landscape, we'll only see it during the day. I want to make sure that, staff and the applicants work together to see if there's some way to light it in the evening too, just to really highlight it during the daytime and nighttime.
Yes, several things. First, I appreciate the patience we have. And for future reference, the reason we're so detailed is because we care about every project. So it's not that we're picking on it. We pick on everybody. You see how much we pick on staff. So I'm usually harder on staff than I am the developer, and that's tonight doesn't. So they get it the worst. But we're used to them. We trust them. So that's why we do this, because we care about the city. One thing I'll say about living on that side of town, I don't think anyone else does. I live on that side of town. This is desperately needed. I'm not saying the word nice, it's desperately needed. There used to be Union 76 or something going down the street there. Most of them weren't here. But it was down the street, that was it. And you had dirt lot, and when you're coming into the city to see dirt lots, and your first view of, I'm coming to Paris, oh, there's a bunch of weeds over there. Okay, let me go to the next city. Literally, it was a one-horse town years ago. So when you see any improvement like that, and this design is fine. And I agree with her saying if this landscaping stuff looks like this at all, it'll be even A+, A+. There's a lot of grading issues, and I went to this site and spent a lot of time. There was a few trucks parked over there, but one thing you can say, the other shopping center that I voted for, so I probably voted everything in the city, over there has been maintained very well as you can. And so that's an example of it can be done in the area, but desperation. They got a park, 34-acre park coming in. This side of town has finally got some sewer systems and not septic tanks. So finally, this side of town is starting to feel like they're in Paris, okay? So this is a very, very much, we have no negative, it was perfect. The only thing I care about, and it's not part of this, I'm kind of getting tired of the earth tone colors, you know. I kind of like white, gray, blue, but we're not going to push it because the one next to it is this color, so you want to be thematic. But, you know, the 90s look, come on, you know, come on. So we're kind of getting away from the earth tone look. But other than that, I think we're fine. This car wash is 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., which will serve people that are going to Lake Elsinore and all the other areas early in the morning. So it's being beneficial to the public. See, and so not 12 at night, at least 10 at night. After 10, you know, you've been in Paris, you start understanding why it has to close at 10 o'clock, okay? So the good thing about that, it's an isolated area, but a store is going to mean so much to them. A retail, they can come in and out. A gas station, because really there's no other place to go other than way down to Chevron or in Redlands or something like that. Come on, you know, these people deserve to have something. So we appreciate it. The design. I think I hope for you for the grading issue, because that's going to be a lot of dirt fill. You finding the dirt, you're going to be talking to KB Homes and a few other ones that give you some dirt, because that's going to be hard. Okay, but I'm glad you're not using dynamite. We have another project that is going to use dynamite, and I said, really? They do plan to use dynamite in another project. I said, I hope it never gets built. Good luck telling the residents you're going to dynamite next to their house. But those are past days, so we appreciate it. With that, I think we're good, and things to add to this, I can't imagine. So, and picture rendering. I think one of the things too is the picture renderings. We didn't have the trash trellis. We didn't have some of these things, so that's why we had to add a few more questions, because we didn't see it. So it's kind of hard to, you know, to know how it would really look. But yes, sir. Oh, okay. There's a lot of stuff here, so I don't know.
Nothing yet.
Yeah, sooner or later he's gonna get me. So, okay. So with that, no more discussion. We have some issues, and I'm gonna try to. I didn't get them all because my writing is terrible, but I'm gonna see. He can correct me, and I'm sure he will, unless you got them all. One of them was you talked about an ADA strip, or was an ADA? Okay, we're fine with the EDA there. The four-way stop at Tomahawk and Indian Hills. That I noticed really bad. Okay, and boy, my writing is really bad. We were still planning to remove one of the vacuum car spaces.
Did you want 3? I heard someone said 3 too. So
3?
3 or 1?
I'm okay with 1.
Mm-hmm. 1 space. Okay. Okay. Reading plans, four-way
I
stop.
just like, you know, if they're covered, all of them covered, but I'm okay with removing 1.
Okay. And now the other thing was the fence around the property. The fence, that little 4-foot steel rail fence around that portion of the back, not including the driveways. We're not talking about covering the driveway, but
36 inches.
yes, yeah, exactly the same fence. Okay, but that's what is that? North side,
Northeast.
all around northeast and along Indian Hills and Navajo from the driveway entrances. Okay, did I miss something?
The architecture, working with staff on the architecture.
Oh.
Yes, and that's just for the car wash, right?
It was for the building,
No.
because the building on the sides has
Veneer,
like,
the
not-
veneer.
The veneer, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep, I got it.
During the color, I'm okay with, you know,
Yeah.
changing
Wow.
of the color.
Okay, did we get it all? I think we did. Okay,
So working with staff on lighting and architecture, right?
yeah,
Lighting for.
yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I didn't see lighting on that one.
Okay, you want to add the specific for the lighting for the landscaping too? Or do you want to just work? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll add that in there.
All right, we're requested action, and he's going to add the rest of it. Adopted resolution number 21-25, adopting mitigated negative declaration number 2363, and approving CUP 19-05295 to construct and operate a convenience store fueling station with an automated car wash based on the findings contained in the staff report, subject to conditions of approval, and those items we mentioned. Please don't have to repeat that.
Just to clarify, that's a request for, you're entertaining a motion to adopt the resolution
yeah.
as stated and with the conditions of,
Amendments.
or the changes as noted.
Yes, thank you. Mhm. Time for a motion. Anyone? Commissioner Gomez has moved and seconded by Commissioner Lopez.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes?
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively,
Yes.
Chair Hammond.
Yes.
With the vote of 5 yes, this motion passes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Taking the time and the effort.
Thank you.
This was us being nice.
Oh, we're being nice today, trust me.
Thank you.
Friendly environment. Thank you.
Okay.
You.
You guys have a good night.
You too, thank you. Eh,
Yes. Can we take a quick?
Oh, the staff would like a quick 5 minute? 3 minute?
I know.
5 minute? 5 minutes maximum. Recess. We're all in accordance, so you don't want He's gonna do away to the tree.
Secret pals, so it's not like, it's like Secret Santa, but it's.
Okay, we're getting ready to reconvene. I don't know if all your people are here now. How's it going, Ron? Keeping you awake? Okay. Quiet.
He is. He's very focused. You guys are distracting him.
Yeah. Okay.
Ignore them.
Okay, well, I don't know if your staff is back, so. Oh, okay. It's time to reconvene the City of Paris Planning Commission at 7:46 p.m. And we're at item 8A, the code enforcement information item. So I'm not sure, I'll let our director introduce whoever's going to be here.
Good evening, Chairman Hammond, members of the Planning Commission. For this evening, we have our code enforcement staff here. We have a privilege of having our code enforcement manager, Robert Trejo, and his senior staff, Daniel Soros. Mr. Trejo will be coming up to and just introduce himself and then initiate the presentation.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and honorable members of the Planning Commission. This evening, the Code Enforcement Division is going to be bringing forth a short but very informative presentation. And for that, I'm going to allow our senior officer, Daniel Soros, who's going to be presenting the item. Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman Hammond and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Daniel Soros. I'm the Senior Code Enforcement Officer here for the city. And we have a quick introduction on what code enforcement is for those that don't know or may have questions. Code enforcement is the prevention, investigation, and enforcement of any municipal code violations that take place in the city. It is specific to region and zone, region being rural versus urban, and zone being commercial versus residential. There's certain violations you're going to see in rural vacant lots like weed abatement that you wouldn't see in urban, and certain in urban zones or regions that you wouldn't see, like taxi cab enforcement, that kind of thing. Commercial versus residential, you're going to see barbed wire and big bright lights and higher walls that you wouldn't normally see in residential zones. It is specific to the community needs and quality of life matters. So when we get hot topics for unlicensed vendors, homeless issues, things like that, we're versatile, so we can move within the Paris Municipal Code. The types of codes enforced, obviously, are the PMC, Paris Municipal Code, CVC, California Vehicle Code, California Health and Safety Code, IBC is the International Building Code, and the International Code Council. Services provided by code enforcement would consist of property value preservation, homeless outreach, resident education, and assistance if needed. Some photos here, some before and after on the left, and then a vacant field here off the 215 freeway. Property maintenance helps to preserve property value, number one, maintains a healthy and attractive neighborhood, and it eliminates the possible rodent and insect infestation that could come with illegal dumping or mass amounts of trash and debris. Parking enforcement ensures vehicle compliance throughout the neighborhood, allows for regular street sweeping of streets, reduces the abandoned vehicles within the city. We utilize the AVA program through the county, and protects city utilities and properties from some of our larger commercial vehicles that are 10,000 pounds operating daily on our residential streets, which are not rated for that. Homeless outreach. We work with our homeless outreach team is SWAG, Social Work Action Group, and we have a Deputy Liaison Robles here. Provides services and resource to the homeless community, reduces blight and locations for criminal activity, and then it also ensures property values are not reduced and areas are not stigmatized. You don't want to ever hear, don't go down there. Don't go down that road at night. That's a bad area, so we try and clean those areas up. We also work with the sheriff to do the cannabis enforcement. Cannabis is now legal in the state of California for cultivation and dispensary, but the unlicensed is what we basically focus on. Keeps residential neighborhoods safe from criminal activity, reduces harmful chemical exposure to the environment. A lot of them are using pesticides that are pretty powerful. Decreases the black market products and sales, and it reduces the overuse of theft of water. It seems like we're in a never-ending drought here in California, and this kind of activity only helps. Graffiti abatement. I'm sure you've seen graffiti, throughout the city. It reduces unsightly properties throughout the city, combats criminal activity for these areas, and it helps to maintain property values and safe neighborhoods. Prohibited signage. The large photo on the right is showing one intersection here. I believe that's now a signal that we've developed. But as you can see, there's 7 to 8 signs there. The photo on the top left is of our truck after we've spent an hour or few collecting the signs throughout the city. It enhances the city appearance. Some of them are blocking or creating traffic obstructions that can cause a traffic collision. Eliminates possible scam or fraudulent advertisement. We do get people that call that have been defrauded over something that shouldn't have been in the right of way, or never should have been posted. And when it comes down to it, it's littering. It basically reduces the littering. Hot topic of lately is the unlicensed vendors. So we do unlicensed vendor enforcement. That eliminates unsanitary food conditions. Things that are not kept up to temperature. We work with Riverside County Environmental Health and the Sheriff's Department when we go on these sweeps. Ensures proper licenses and permits are obtained. It reduces trespassing and unsafe vending locations where someone just trespasses and sets up on a vacant lot that's private property, may not have the proper ingress and egress. A lot of these unlicensed operations run late into the night, and we do have traffic collisions occasionally because they're unlighted, undeveloped lots. And it provides insurance to our brick and mortar and our licensed vendors that they're doing it the right way, and that the city code enforcement division is out combating those that are not obtaining licenses and permits. Our City of Paris Code Enforcement Division consists of Manager Trejo, myself, our code enforcement officers. We have currently 5, and our contact information, and any questions.
I have
Thank you very much.
I have a quick question. In your slides, the code, you have IBC. Why is it not CBC, California Building Code?
We use the International Building Code because it's more open, so we can take more from it. If there's anything in our Paris Municipal Code that we're looking for that specific code that just fits that specific situation perfectly, California Health and Safety Code's huge. So we can always go to that and utilize that if there's something that doesn't hit the nail right on the head with our PMC. Same with the International Building Code. It's a lot wider variety of things. If we need to really specifically have legal counsel from someone that's challenging us, then we can go to that.
Okay. So, California Building Code is CBC, so that's kind of why I'm questioning it. Can you, if you run into issues in something that's more stringent in CBC, can you not run to the CBC for codes?
Yeah, we can use either one. Whatever code we determine fits that specific violation the best to combat it and convey what the city is trying to get accomplished, that's what we'll use. So we do have, several different ones we can go to. We can mostly stick with the PMC, surprisingly, but occasionally, not occasionally, quite often we will go to the California Health and Safety Code as well because it's a large code and it encompasses everything. So if someone fixes something, but it's not 100% right or what we're looking for, and they're trying to be a quick fix or something like that, then we can get more technical with the California Health and Safety Code and say, you did this, but we just need you to go this extra mile and do this so that it looks right and it's done 100% correct.
What about issues behind in backyards in residential neighborhoods?
So backyards in residential neighborhoods, a lot of our code speaks to what is visible from the street. However, if someone is complaining about someone's yard and it's a backyard and they're a neighbor and they're on a second floor and they have a vantage point of that and they allow us into their house, that is now plain sight. So the reasonable expectation of privacy has gone out the window. And so if the neighbor is that adamant that whatever the violation may be, hoarding conditions, excessive trash and debris, insects, roaches, rats, mice that are attracted to this property is coming into their property, then they can let us use that vantage point on their property, and legally we're good to go and enforce those codes.
Okay.
Yeah,
down the line.
I have a question on in regards to patrolling. Like, how do you guys exactly operate in patrolling areas and taking care of them before they become actual complaints?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're proactive and reactive. We have a website that they can submit requests for violation concerns. We have the phone number, we have the counter they can walk in, and we have an email address so that any of the reactive complaints we can address through that way. And we're also going proactive. We have our officers set up where they're responsible for their specific area, and so they can do proactive enforcement while they're going to the reactive enforcement. Reactive is definitely priority because we want to take care of the concerns of the residents or business property owners that have called that in. But the proactive is good too for that one or two really bad houses on the street that need some extra attention.
Yeah. So just to clarify, each officer does have like a certain zone they have to patrol regularly. And
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And to piggyback on his question there, I'm trying to be careful the way I word this, but I just want to know how effective is your staff in handling the current needs of the city? And does your unit need more assistance? Because the city's growing so fast.
Correct.
And I would like to know if the capacity of your unit right now is good, or if it does need support.
Yes, we actually had Manager Trejo today conduct interviews for
Nice.
some additional staff that we're going to be getting. The mayor is a big person on our side. He's very pro code enforcement, and he's always asking for additional services, additional equipment for us. And so right now we do need staff, but like I said, it was addressed today. It'll be addressed very shortly. And we're covering the city well. We're putting out the fires that need to be put out immediately, and then we are working on caseload for the other stuff. It may not be so urgent.
And I can attest to that, because as soon as I submit a ticket on the app, I can see it done before the end of the day. So that is refreshing. How many applicants, positions do you have open?
So if I may just elaborate, and that's a very good question or point that you're making, ma'am. Obviously, our city is growing and it's growing very fast. We have a large number of housing that is coming in the near future in the south end. So our code enforcement division is planning ahead in the sense of acquiring additional staff, so we can prepare for those issues that may come up in the near future. Currently, we have 4 regular officers that are assigned to 4 quadrants. The city is divided into 4 areas, and we have 2 officers, code enforcement officers, that are assigned to street sweeping, and those are they interchange the assignment on a weekly basis, but and they're also assigned to the northern and southern area of the city as well. As far as how much staffing we need, it's a very good question. And just today, like as Officer Soares mentioned, we held a series of interviews to fulfill 2 vacancies at this time. Those are hourly vacancies, but we're hoping that in the future, as Officer Soares mentioned, we do have the support. The council is 100% behind us, as well as the Plan Commission. And that's the great advantage that we have in our city. Unfortunately, other jurisdictions, they may not have the same backing, if you will. But we do have here with us, we're very fortunate to have that. I'm saying all that to say this. Hopefully, in the near future, we'll have our 4 or 6 rather code enforcement officers We can add additional officers, possibly up to 8 or 10 in the next few years, so we can prepare for those additional houses that are coming, and we can maintain the quality of life that we should be providing here in our city.
And how, just because of the question of the need, how do you cover the weekends?
So that's an excellent question too, and because of the shortage of staff that we have right now, unfortunately, we can only alternate every weekend. So by that, what I mean by that is this weekend we may be working on Saturday. The following weekend we're working on Sunday. It covers the needs to a degree. However, the transitory violations, they know our schedules.
They figured it out?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So we
Put
have
in a
to
wrench
almost
in it.
maintain a step ahead of the problems that we're seeing on our neighbors, neighborhoods rather. So yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, hi. We've been softball, now we got to go hardball. No, you know me a while, so you know I'm not going to. I have nothing but first I want to thank Kenneth for bringing it forward. He's got many hats on, so this is just another hat. We told him we weren't going to beat anybody up. Not too bad anyway, a couple of bruises, but but you survive. One of the things that some of the questions been asked, but one of the reasons why this was brought up, because I know how the council will send you stuff, but one of the things we need to know, and this is a commission, and I think for any commission in the future, I'll give you an example. The Ferguson retail place over there in Ramona, we as commissioners are going to see things that maybe the public may not be willing to report or not know where to go. Two hardball questions would be one of them. I saw graffiti on the wall, and I had to report it to him, who reported to you. We need to know a protocol as commissioners. And we should not just be doing what the public, we should have a special protocol, because you get it from the mayor, okay? So we need some kind of protocol. Should we go through our community services director? Should we go through directly to you, bypass them? Some of them are planning issues. Perfect example, Leathanack Road, I don't know how you didn't see that, but it was graffiti all on the wall. They have a condition, they have a COA, supposed to get it off. I had to tell him, who had to tell you. Extra steps. Do we have, we're not saying this is online, but is there a protocol you want us to do as a commission, that if we need to should we go everything filtered to our director, or should we just do this? Not all of it's in our neighborhoods. Some of we driving by and we're just pay attention to stuff, because we have that extra sense because we're sitting up here. So we're not gonna let things go that the average one might, we're not gonna do it. Paris Boulevard, as you know, that car wash, and graffiti, unbelievable amount of graffiti over there. And I'm going through my head, who are we supposed to contact? Do we contact him or go through this one, go to this one? We need to cut the steps. That's one of the reasons. Number two, one of the things is parkways. Now we went to whole LMD and all the other stuff, but if it's weed growing and then it's the city's responsible, that's one thing. But if it's a private owner, we don't know the LMD districts. So if we're looking at it going, that's not my responsibility, that's the city. We don't know if it's the cities. So who are you going to call? You've got streets like that. There's some of them like First Street between the train station and over to A Street. You have some sidewalk and some no sidewalk. Okay, it's not my responsibility. It's the cities. We don't know if it's the cities. You know it's the cities. Are you going to do if the city calls? I'd like to get on the city, wouldn't we? But those kind of things happen. Paris Boulevard has examples. By the convalescent home, told you we know the city. Convalescent home, there's nothing there on the street, just nothing. Just weeded out and all that. Nobody cites them. You have things that happen at Walmart. You have things that happen at the property centers. We had down at the Winco, they had a trash truck as they're doing a dental plant. They're just throwing the trash all over the place. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters? I mean, they just had the bin and it was flowing out there, and the homeless just start coming up there. See, one thing not being done leads to another thing not being done. It's on private property. So if you see the Winco, I'm not picking on Walmart. If you see Winco, if you see one of these places on store properties, I guess the thing is, it's a matter of protocol. It's things that we see. We may see as citizens in my community, I've called on graffiti that came off the next day. But if I see a shopping cart in the area and you see them, who are you going to call? They do this when you call them. State is worthless. I'm just telling you right now. You might as well just be calling the wall. If that's an issue, you know who you're supposed to contact. I've gone into your office, right, behind the bulletproof glass. But I've gone into your office and said, another one, the Metro Rail people, and you know where I'm going with this one, right? Overpass, not my responsibility. Southern California Railroad, oh, it's ours. After you get through Caltrans, good luck. If you get to RCTC, good luck. They go to the city. The city says, I'm not mine. Who are we supposed to go to? We need to know who that, because that's where the majority of your stuff happens on those overpasses. Now, it's been cleaned up over there, but let me tell you, the county's never going to do anything. But the county's there, the RCTC there, the Caltrans is, hey. Then Southern California Railroad, I had to go through 4 different people, then our council person had to call. So I had to send it to the mayor's office, send it to the council person, they had to call. That's too many people to go through to get graffiti off, and kids are watching the language that's in the graffiti, let's put it that way. Okay. So now you see why I kind of call the idea is that we need some protocol, we need to know who we should contact, should we route everything through there, maintain some kind of, I'm not sure what we should do. But we see a lot of things, we have some very involved people here, and that's one of our issues. We know the public, the public gets tired enough, you start seeing things, but the thing is when you're commissioners and you start seeing things, it's coming in from a different angle. So we appreciate the work. We have very short staff. You need 15 people. Come on. but enlighten me on that one, because some of those issues are issues that are not quickly addressed. Homelessness is a major issue. They're walking up to cars now, but that's a police issue, right? Trucks parked by the Shell station, what the mayor mentioned, right?
Yes,
There's
sir.
a line of trucks there. Okay, well, what violation? You're going to call CHP? Yeah, they're not going to do anything. You're going to call the sheriff's department? They're parked vehicles. Come on. Okay. Code enforcement is going to get called. What are you going to do? Well, there's no sign posting. So those are some questions, now I'm kind of throwing it out there for you. Now you see where I'm going. So protocol and some of those outside the Beltway issues, where do we go?
Yes, sir. And those are very, very excellent questions. The broken window theory, rather, if you let one spot that it has been tagged with graffiti just sit there for a day or two, and even a couple of days or so, before you realize we have a few buildings that have been tagged now, and it just continues, and it just keeps growing and growing and affecting the entire community, eventually, essentially the city. To answer your question, sir, call code enforcement. Call me. You can call my line directly. You can call our general line, and we'll be more than happy to. If it's a call that it goes to Public Works or any other division, we'll channel that call to them. But we can be the first eyes and ears, if you will, and we can go out to the location and evaluate whether it's the responsibility of whoever it may be. You brought up the overpass and the graffiti issues that we've had over the past few years. And absolutely right, trying to get some type of cooperation. It's very difficult sometimes. But Officer Soares here, he has been able to establish a very good contact in those different agencies. And we have gotten those areas removed, or those areas cleaned up. So please do not hesitate to call the Code Enforcement Division directly. And I won't ask you to call my director because you're more than happy to do that. I'm trying to take some of the load off of his plate, and because I understand that he's super busy. So let me help you all. Let me take that responsibility off of him, and I'll be more than happy to assess the violation and get the work done, get the job done. Yes.
Because and I think somebody mentioned here she asked the question of and it's not your fault. It's a Saturday weekend thing. One thing we're seeing a lot of vendors. If you drive down Cajalco in the county portion, I mean, there's a lot of people. It must be some good food.
Yes.
But they're very slick. They know exactly where to go. And we don't know if they're licensed. You don't know if if you eat the food. So not as much of a problem I'm seeing, but the weekend they say, well, they're not going to be around. So they know how to play the game, right? So on Saturdays or Sundays, we're going to be out there. So what's going on, man? Well, we know they're not working. So, if they're, I don't know if there's an 800 or we just text you, or maybe after here, the public number, if there's another number you can give off the record, we'll take it.
Absolutely. We do have our general number, which is 951, and I'm going by the presentation that we just showed you. It says 909, but it's actually 951, 3854131. That's our general number.
385-431?
Yes, 3854131. And you're more than welcome also to submit requests through what we call the EFM. You can find that in our website, the city website. And these venues are monitored 24/7, and we can go out and respond as soon as possible.
Let me just say, I think it was I'm not sure. I'd never seen it before. It was the first time I saw it, but the way to deflect those vendors from certain properties, I saw the way they put the mounds of dirt up in, I'm not sure what that's called. Did you guys see that on Orange and Paris Boulevard?
Absolutely.
That was genius. Because they can no longer just drive in. Yes. There's that mound of dirt. I mean, it could have been higher, because I know some trucks would go over that. But it was I love the way, right away, instead of parking there and setting up their tents and selling their merchandise, they just jumped to the other corner because it was empty. But, that deflection, that type of strategy being used, I really like that. I encourage that to continue, because we're like the chair said, we're very proactive up here, and we're always looking and taking pictures and sending it in. So we do see when there is when there's improvement. So thank you for that, and continue with that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And the strategy of creating or suggesting for these property owners to create berms or erect fences, that we came up with that strategy over the last couple of months or so, because we were seeing the increase of these illegal activities that are going on after 6 p.m. on a Saturday. They know that code enforcement is not out there, or Sunday. So what we've done, we've changed our strategy a little bit now, and we've gotten, I want to say, one step ahead of the activity. For example, another strategy that we're doing is that we go and set up on the hot spots that we know. For example, 4th and A Street, 4th and B Street. Those have been very active over the past 6 months. So simply what we do, we go and set up before they do. For example, yesterday we were out there at 4 p.m. Today we were out there at 4:30, and that it deflects. It does rather. It minimizes.
They just keep driving.
That's what they keep circling.
And you already know them, huh? You're like,
yes.
I see your grill.
Yes, we know the vehicles by heart.
tent.
We know the license plates. And they do, absolutely. For example, the minute if a vendor on the north side gets a citation, they start communicating. They say, hey, code enforcement is out here, so shut it down. Otherwise, you're going to get a citation, which is up to $500 minimum.
That's what I was going to ask next.
Yes, and we're also confiscating now. We're confiscating the perishables. We're also setting up finishing the process with the city attorney's office to be able to confiscate the large items.
Oh, wow.
So pretty soon, we're going to be able to take those large grills that they use, the tents, and the equipment. There's an old saying in code enforcement: we hit them where it hurts. Unfortunately, sometimes folks don't understand unless it's affecting them monetarily. So that is the strategies that we have increased over the last few months or so.
When they get cited, do you also provide them the information where they can get the permits?
Yes,
I was going
absolutely.
to commend that because I've seen it a lot of times because, everybody's heart goes out to these people because they're working.
Oh, yes.
But I wanted to commend the code enforcement department because I've noticed that when they come out and talk to them, it's not just like, we're going to get rid of all this stuff, you're on your own. They direct them and put them in contact with the proper steps to be able to get those permits, how to go about it. So I wanted to commend that just because it's not coming from a place of not caring, because even though at the end of the day you're doing your job and it must be really hard for you, I can't even imagine how that feels because this is somebody's livelihood.
Yes.
You're putting them in touch with somebody who might be able to help them.
Our main goal is to educate everyone.
Yes.
That's education. It will minimize the risk of having a violation. And we try to, we give them the respect that they deserve. We empathize with them. And we try to provide as much information as possible, and so they can come into the system. There's a system already set up that the city has created, so they can come in and obtain their license and their permits. Obviously, there's rules and regulations, there's some boundaries that they have to follow, and that's what we go out and try to regulate those boundaries.
So each vendor license, is it, you have to have a general location, correct? Or a location, and they can't change it, correct?
Yes, sir, yes, absolutely. And on top of that, they also need to have not only the location stated in the permit, but also consent from that property owner, which is the step that the majority of them are missing right now.
Right.
Is obtaining consent from Fourth and B, Fourth and A. Those property owners have now received notices of violations also as well. Just informing them that there's a violation occurring in their lots. So we're also reaching out to the property owners so they can give us a hand and do the right thing and create the berms that we started to see.
So those berms are created by the property owners?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
Yes. And they do work. It is
Yeah.
effective.
The cost of getting a permit is just a few $100s.
It's very minimum. As a matter of fact, Ryan, if you can, what is the fee for
A typical business license ranges anywhere from $70 to $100 for a year. So that's pretty much the only fee that they have to pay to the city.
Thank you.
But
Ryan.
there's,
And the fine is 500, so either they can try to get a $100 business license or pay a $500 fine.
Yes,
have to
absolutely.
register their
And-
business with the state there.
And those fines can
And then pay
be
the
cumulative.
city of
We
Paris.
can actually find on a 24-hour basis. So if we go out and identify a violation 7 days a week, 7 times 5, I'm bad at math, but it gets up there very fast. Yes. So.
One of the things too, and in relation to the planning commission and any planning commission where I'm hearing it, is that we have CUPs.
Yes.
And obviously the police department says if you get these violations, but see, it starts tying into if you're a 7-Eleven, you allow homeless, if you allow people to do things on your properties and you start getting cited, then it should be right. Then we need to know because with that conditional use permit is based upon the fact that they don't have these things happening. So it becomes a planning commission issue. If you say the 7-Eleven, which is pretty good, but then you have some that may not do that, liquor stores, and they're not really monitoring, and people start hanging out, and they start doing things in parking lot, then it becomes an enforcement issue. See, so now you have the sheriff, and then you have code enforcement. What's going on with this guy selling stuff? Maybe their liquor license goes. So now you can see why it's even more important to know if you have these violations going. We're just approving another 7-Eleven. We're approving these things left and right. So, but they're CUPs, just like the one we just approved. So they have to monitor things that go on in their properties, and we don't make sure people aren't hanging outside, aren't doing things like that, they're trashing it. The trash bins aren't just overflowing. You start seeing rodents and rats, like the Winco was getting ready to do. And those things cannot be allowed because one thing starts leading to another thing.
Absolutely.
You know, when trash is overflowing, I start seeing people pick in the middle of the parking lot. They're starting to pick out stuff, and then what's going on here? Well, it's the dental people building the building. Yeah, but it's on Winco. Well, who owns the whole property? So they're the ones that get cited. They don't know anything about it. So if you don't do that, the next person comes in and starts grabbing stuff. Now the gate's open. Now everything's open. I'm looking at all it, and the next thing is the rodents start coming.
Yes.
And you're like, why didn't somebody do something? Because it's on private. So it's private. We don't want to deal with it. Who do you call?
Code enforcement.
So it's important for that standpoint. Maybe we don't want to see it, but if we see stuff and we just approve and you start laying around and you got a CUP,
That's correct.
we have
And
a
we do
problem.
have a few cases that we're working that relates to potentially affecting them in revoking their license and because of violation of the CUP regulations or yes.
Good. I appreciate it.
Well, one of my questions was going to be your hours of operation, but I will retract that since everybody that needs to know already knows. I won't ask.
So our regular hours are from 7 to 6.
Okay.
And Monday through Sunday with
With
offsetting
alternating
on
weekends. Okay.
Our goal is eventually to be to have the proper staffing that we can provide 7 days a week coverage, continuous coverage. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm glad just because I know in my area was an issue for a while. Not anymore. The neighbors that were doing this moved out. They were having yard sales every single weekend. I don't think they were getting the proper permits, but it was on a Saturday. So there was nobody to call. So even if I called, I mean, nobody showed up till Monday. There's no yard sale. So
Right.
it was every weekend, almost every weekend. Yeah, new items. And I was like, how do you have so much stuff inside your house? Where are you getting this from? But I'm hoping, with the staff and the needs, and I'm really glad that, the council's also very supportive. You have our full support. Maybe having a swing shift, especially with the homeless issue, with
Yes, ma'am.
those cannabis issues where, that's when the majority of entries and exits from those locations are happening. They're not doing it in broad daylight many times. It's once you guys are off.
Right. And to combat, if you will, those type of violations, we periodically we do
Okay.
shift our schedules.
Swing shifts.
For example, the last 3 weeks, we had staff members out there until 10 p.m.
Okay.
So we can address different violations, mainly the unpermitted vending. And then we do go collaboratively with our POP team, with our police department. And once a week, we pair it up and we target different areas of the city so we can address the quality of life issues, the homeless problems that we have in different areas of our city.
Good. I'm hoping eventually you do get the staffing because I know there's labor laws that go into it and you can't do a swing shift when you've had this shift. So I know there's so much more that goes into it. So I appreciate everything you do trying to work with a lot of limitations to keep our city beautiful.
Thank you, ma'am.
One last question. Can you, does the same kind of patrol go into for vehicles, cabs and diesel trucks that are in the residential areas? I know that there's overnighters, and some of them are not frequent offenders, but some of them are, they're actually taking advantage of the fact that there's nothing being done. How does that work a little bit?
So yes, periodically we do receive the complaint or the call that there's a semi-trailer coming and being stored in a residential area. So what we do, because most likely when we get there at 7 a.m., the truck is gone. So what we do contact the property owner and advise him that we did receive a complaint, a report, that there's possibly a violation occurring. And that's when we shift our schedule and we can go out there at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. As need may be. So we can confirm the violation, and then we can start the enforcement process.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there a warning that goes out first, or?
The process does start with a warning.
Okay.
However, that's pretty much our discretion of the enforcing officer.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we do start our enforcement process with a warning notice.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sure they appreciate that.
Yes,
Heads
ma'am.
up.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I appreciate you coming out. I know the thoroughness of, because you come before the commission in the past, and the thoroughness of, if you haven't done one of these with housings and that, very thorough picture taking, very documented. So it's not just a matter of going there and say, oh, you have weed a bit. No, there's documentation, there's things. You had a house burned in the city one time, you had to document all that stuff before the city could do something. But you had to document. People who work for government understand you have to document everything.
Absolutely.
And you have to double document, and if it's not enough, you triple document. If you don't do that with picture taking, exact dates and things like that, it ends up being a legal issue. So what we appreciate, because I've seen in the past documentation of things, B Street an example over there. I'll just stop. But that documentation with that property over there about being burned, it's being redeveloped, but you have to show pictures, you have to go through that, you have to notify the owner, you have to give them a chance to respond. So that's being proactive. Not just, we're just gonna come zap you. You do something about it. We'll give you a time period to do something about it. And I appreciate that. I know the level of documentation that comes from you guys.
Absolutely,
So,
sir.
Trust
Yes.
me.
Oh, yes,
So,
sir.
and then it came to us, and it was very easy. So it takes a lot of work. It's not as easy, but we need people. We're here to support. I'm sure there's nobody here that wouldn't support.
Thank you.
the need
Appreciate
for
the
that.
support.
And you thought you were going to beat up. We didn't, right?
No,
So-
this has been very pleasant. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate
Anything
it.
else? So we good. Thank you very much, and thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Okay, that was item 8A. Yeah, that was 8A, right? It said 8A. Code enforcement was 8A, yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna say public comment. Is there public comment at this time, whether it's on Zoom, thank you, whether it's on Zoom or not? If there's public comment, of course, the person has 3 minutes. They can come either on Zoom or if they want to come from the public. And on any subject matter whatsoever, it doesn't have to be related to any of the topics before, but it's welcome to come forward, even if the young man wants to come forward. Look at that look he gave me. But we welcome at this time public comment. Okay. And with that, we close the public comment portion and move on to. Oh, we're getting tired. Commission members. Commission members' announcements or reports. And anyone can start if you still have any. If you're still awake.
I just want to say thank you for the presentation. It was super informative, super thorough. I'm sure a lot of the resident could benefit from hearing the information. I know me myself, I gained a lot of information as well. So thank you for the presentation, and I just hope that everybody had a good holiday over the past week and had hopefully a couple days off of work so they could relax, spend some time with the family. And yeah, I hope everybody has a good night.
You guys are worn out.
We're being super courteous up here. Yes, thank you to staff members and to the staff members who presented today as well. Thank you so much for being so thorough in your answers and just being prepared. It shows when you're prepared and you're here to answer the questions and you know your stuff, that we really appreciate that. So thank you so much for that. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I know we did. We were able to relax for the first time for a few days. And if I haven't said so already, the Aldi opening was awesome. It was great. I was so happy to be there, participate. Thank you for allowing me to be there as part of the commission. I mean, it's really just great to be a part of the growth of our city. And I did bring my son today. We had soccer practice and we came right over. He insisted on coming. Not sure if he's regretting it, but I'm sure he'll let me know. But I'm glad that he's here to be able to see what it is to do public service and to see that the community members, the diverse community members that we have here in the city of Paris, and how we communicate effectively with everyone. And I think that, I think that he'll remember mostly the Coke that he got, in the evening, but he'll be able to sit down and sip on it as a kid. But for sure, I hope this is a lasting memory for him, and it instills in him also the spirit of public service so that he too in the future can be a community member that can also be of benefit to the community and an asset to the community, which is what we strive for in our daily lives. I really want to just briefly, I don't want to take up too much time, and I apologize, but if anyone paid attention to the city council meeting yesterday, I listened to it this morning, and I think that we should do something to educate our residents on something that we talk about all of the time here, but for some reason it's just not getting through to the residents, what our zoning, how it works. There was a lot of verbiage from community members and residents here in the city of Paris that came from a personal point, but there was no foundation to it. And there were very strong words used that were presented to City Council yesterday. And I think that comes from a place of not understanding how the process works and why the city is growing the way it's growing. And there are many things that we would also like to change, but we live in a city that is very unique. We have 2 airports, we have a train station, we have, accessible routes, and there's reasons why our city is growing the way it is growing. And so I wish we could find a way to educate our community members and our residents so that they can understand why it's going this way. It's not because we are letting developers walk all over us. It is not because we don't understand the diversity of our community. It is not because we are not doing our due diligence or because we are in the pockets of whoever. It's because we understand the process and we live in a city that has certain restrictions, and there are many reasons why our city is growing in the direction that it is growing. And as much as we'd like to change some of those things, I can tell you that since I've been here, the city has grown in a positive way. Do I wish that it were a little different? Absolutely, but I will not compare my city to other surrounding cities. I will not, because we are a unique city. We are one of the oldest cities in this area. I've been here for a very, very long time. There is a history here. There are a lot of firsts here that we have discussed. We have so many amenities here that we're like, well, let's go find entertainment somewhere else. Yes, we can, but we also have things here that are unique. We have a lake, we have skydiving, we have a train station, we have paintball shooting. We have things here already with just probably not for everyone, but we do have things. And so again, the marketing video that they presented yesterday was just amazing. It was really nice, but there's opportunities to show more of what the city is about. And so I had to say something because my pride comes through, and I really, as everyone knows me, I'm very proud to say I live in the city of Paris. I'm starting to see colleagues of mine take a look over here. I'm starting to see people move over here, buy homes here, and that makes me even prouder that they are watching, they are listening. So I just had to say something. So if there's something we can do to educate our residents in regards to why our city is growing the way it's growing for the 10th time, I would love to be able to be a part of that or to be able to do something about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Minutes?
So Vice Chair Shively and I had the opportunity to go to a business economic event last week at the Paris airport. And, that really made me happy because there was business owners that are in our city, and they speak so proudly about being part of our city. And they really are vested in developing our city. They feel like they're part of the community, even if they don't live in the community. Their business is here, and that's their livelihood. So that was one, just to echo what Commissioner Gomez was saying, I'm very happy that so many community members are so passionate about our city and they come out and speak. I would also like to have them maybe come to our commission meetings, join the council meetings more often, ask those questions, get to know, reach out to their council members, our commission members, just to develop that relationship, because I love that people are so passionate that they feel like they need to come in and speak. Maybe not use the best choice of words, but it's because of their passion too. And I really wish that they would see that the passion of the council and the commission is equal to theirs. We just have limitations that we have learned about. And our goal really is to make the city the best that we can. We have a parade December 11th for Christmas. There's going to be a lot of people joining. I've seen the list. I know there's a band competition earlier before that. If you want to, the bands, when they march in the parade, they're amazing. But earlier, that's when they have their competition, and that's when they're like top notch. And it's amazing to come and watch them march. I wanted to just mention, some of these kids that are marching, I know I have a middle schooler who's a little bit nervous about marching because she's been marching for a whole 2 months. With the middle school, I know some middle schools pull their bands because they're not at the level that they normally are because they've had a year, or they have 8th graders that have marched before. So just let's cheer for those kids and any community member that's in the parade, because it takes a lot of courage to be up there, especially when, you don't feel fully prepared. So let's just show everybody that's there a lot of support like we always do. Oh, and the tree lighting ceremony, clarified, I had the wrong day on my calendar. It's Friday.
Okay, Commissioner Shiver.
Well,
Vice Chair.
many things were stated. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend the tree lighting ceremony. I have to go take care of some personal things in Phoenix, but I look forward to it if I was here. And then, Commissioner Gomez, that your speech was very effective, and very appreciative, and you're personally doing very well, and you're taking charge of a lot of things here on the commission. I commend you for that. That's all I have.
And hope you feel better too. Okay, and lastly, before we get to the director's announcement, I think, yes, the tree light, I think you'll go through all the tree lighting and other things. I think the commission, before I get to myself, would like to, if you'd like to be a part of the parade, then I think Kenneth, we're gonna have to shoot through Kenneth and let them know we have to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever, what we need to do, because they start taking numbers who's in, and so if you've done it in the past, it gets wild. And since it's been 2 years, probably, it's gonna be a lot of people.
And no
So
car.
you walk, and you would have some shoes on. If we do decide to do it, you will walk.
We
So-
don't need a car.
No cars. So that should be easy for the city. No money, no limousines, no cheap. So please let us know what we need to do. If we have to write in applications and send it to somebody, we'd appreciate that. Lastly, first we appreciate, I think like tonight, and I've been asking for a lot of this stuff for years, had in code enforcement last year, and people say, why you do that? Because people need to be educated. One of the problems with this city is you may have a marketing thing for city. Don't assume everybody does the high-tech social network. There are a lot of people who don't in this city. And I think it's a false assumption to think everybody does that. Most do not. They want hand-to-hand, show me. So the old school folks, you get in my face and tell me what about your city. That's why you don't have a lot of participation. You got to do both. Young people, that's not all. Some don't even have computers. So you got to count for that group. So when you talk about code enforcement, I bet most people don't even know who to call. So when you talk about some of these things, and I talk about LMD, we didn't know what else. We were at the Planning Commission. So then you talk about marketing strategy. There's a lot of things in the city. We don't see anything talking about it. And that's one of those things that your economic development person, Michelle, would be nice to see that person too. But what they try to sell a city, you sell a city based upon things that are really positive and really good. In the 90s, Paris was negative. You tell you right now. You watched stuff and it was just for the laughs. And it was a joke. Now it's not a joke because people are coming here and there's 80,000 people probably now, and we have advanced. So we've come a long way. So you got to sell it, okay? You got to sell it to people that don't necessarily speak the language. You got to sell it to people who are new here. You got to people who are not educated. You got to think about everybody. So not everybody has a social network. Some people want you to tell them, and it's word of mouth. Okay, parks like that over there, they don't care about social network. They're going to see people going, and then they go. That's the reality from the streets. Okay, so when you deal with that group as well as the social network, because the young people don't have a problem, but the ones that don't are not going to show up. And so they vent themselves when they come to city council. They're not going to do it here. They're going to vent at the city council because they know that's the last stop. It's common sense. The last stop is them, so I'm going to come to there. They're going to come here. They want the last say because they have the fiduciary money responsibility. So that's why you'll see things going on there. And you say, let them talk because that's what they feel. But they don't know what's going on. One thing Dr. Grace Williams, who's now Dr. Martin, did was she had a charrette. 100+ people showed up. Businesses, everybody, youth. Put on a wall, this is what we want to do. Best event we've had in 10 years. Because every age group, everybody showed up, even the ones like IDS, what's going on here? They showed up to these meetings. industrial, because they want to see what the city thinks. That was the best way, and it was simple, cost almost nothing. But it was in this building, and I know we had the COVID stuff in the past, but the idea is those simple things, whether it's on a Saturday or like that, people start saying, oh, those are your planning commissioners. They didn't know that. Oh, those are such and such. We didn't know that. Oh, that's your director. We didn't know that economic director. Well, they're seeing it. So people feel comfortable in that kind of setting because they, what do you want to see in the city? Wild stuff, you know. We want a museum. Okay, fine. But hotels, which we don't have, you start seeing things that come from people's hearts because they can't do sophisticated stuff. That's what they start doing. Just talk to them, ask them what they want. Very simple. It's 80s school, it's old school stuff, but that works. Okay? So when you start doing things like that, then code enforcement becomes a positive thing. Now I'm calling them, they're gonna beat me up, they're gonna, you know, like can't pay, that program can't pay, will take your things away. That's not, we're going out there to take things away. The idea is you want to enforce it, but we want to do it in a way that's going to be professional, which you do, and say, look, you have a community problem and this is a violation. What can we do to help you get there? We want that to be positive, like us. You know, oh, those developers. Well, developers own the property. So you have to come from the standpoint of March Air Force's base is there. Why? Well, you can't put things there because March is there. So I think the idea of being PR and having a public relation thing and also knowing who the commission is and knowing who the council is and knowing who you guys are, that becomes like a video, or what video, whatever you call it these days. And that presentation makes it a positive so you can take to any city.
Right.
Okay. So with that, I'm going to stop. I think I did go to the Aldi opening. I took a tour. I was probably there with Michelle. And I got, come take a picture with me. Positive. Come take a picture. We're so proud of you guys doing it. I didn't do a thing. But I want to take a picture with you because we're proud of the city of Paris. That's what I like to hear. Not what I did, is what was done in the city, and they're proud of it. So let me take a picture with you. Okay? I'm not going to charge you, but just take a picture, okay? You know, and the next person, what can we do? I appreciate it. It's wonderful, wonderful. We've never seen. That's what you want to hear. So that makes people feel good when they see positive things about their city. But they want to see you face to face. And that has more impact than anything else you're going to do when you do face to face. As you know, if you go over there, right? You send them letters all day and then you see that person, right? Anyway, we turn it over to our director, our czar, and whatever other title he has, planning manager.
Good evening, Chairman Hammond and members of the Planning Commission. Again, just wanted to highlight and just elaborate a little bit more information than what you already noted. I think you cover a lot of things I wanted to say, so you're way ahead of me. So just for information for this Friday, the Christmas lighting, it will be at 6 p.m., so it will start sharp. But as part of that event, there will also be, I think this is our first time we're doing the ice skating ring here on the campus. So it will be available for 3 days, is my understanding. So, but I think you do have to make a reservation in advance just because we're thinking it'll be a very popular event.
Yes.
And so you do need to sign up for that. The second thing that you kind of mentioned was the Christmas parade. I am working with community services right now to kind of coordinate how that would happen and how your participation would occur. There's a possibility that you could be on a vehicle, but we'll sort that out. And once that's sorted out, hopefully by this week or early next week, we'll send out an email informing you what steps you need to take next. So just wanted to elaborate on that just a little bit further. In addition, I know that we had a great presentation by Mr. Trejo and his lead supervisor, Daniel Suarez. Anything in code enforcement, as you know, the community or those who want to violate the regulation, they're always trying to find ways to beat us to our strategy. So anytime you have information such as trucks being parked in local areas, we kind of have to have the lead so we can think of a strategy to combat that. So the more information you provide us in advance, so just sometimes giving us the information the day of, just having the team, the player necessary to be out there to kind of think of a strategy. but the earlier you provide us, the more of an opportunity that we can strategize and figure out how do we best deal with this. And sometimes it takes a little bit more time than we would like to get it implemented, just because there's a process, there's legal application, some stuff for code, some stuff for police. So I just wanted to just note that for you so that it helps us as you communicate information to our code department. It helps us kind of create a strategy to combat what's going on and out in the field. Beyond that, just wanted to note that we won't have a second Planning Commission meeting this month. And so we will have our first meeting January 5th. So you get a little break in between. But when we come back January 5th, we're on schedule right now, unless something drastically changes, to have our housing element back on January 5th. So I just want to alert you to that. And then we have, I think, 2 other items that'll be back here for that meeting. One is a medical office, and then another one is a alcohol license. So I don't know how to. It's not as exciting, but. Okay. But beyond that, we do have our recognition for the Planning Commissioners Dinner, so you should be getting the invite. And then beyond that, we'll see each other with the Christmas lighting, of those who can attend, and of course our Christmas parade. But we'll periodically see each other, so we won't be strangers for a little bit. But beyond that, if for some reason I don't see you between now and January 5th, hope you have a great time with family and friends. It's a good time just to be thankful for all that we have. So with that, I have no further communication.
Since this is the last meeting, real quickly, I want to thank Ryan for his patience too in staying awake. Thank our city attorney who didn't beat me up too much tonight. He was looking at me like, and thank Code Enforcement for being patient and staying the whole time, and all the members of the commission this year, and all the staff too. As we go into the next year, we'll see each other probably at the parade. He's probably gonna have to walk behind his car, but
He doesn't have a book this time.
yeah. But we appreciate it, and since it's gone, we do appreciate it. And whatever we need to do, I hope everyone got to the point with our IT who's listening. Thank you, IT.
Yes.
And you have to get used to this thing. It takes a while. It's a learning curve, but should have that. And can make appointments. They're very well available. He's good. It's like going into the Fort Knox to get into their building. They won't let you in. But other than that, we're good. So thank you. And no meetings till January. So 3rd of December, definitely the 9th, at the Blue Grill. You changed ones. And then on the 11th at the parade. Wow. Okay. And with that adjournment, just pick a name, Ryan. We don't care.